I do not know how this is even on here, but Golisopod is ranked 55. I don't know how that's ranked 55 because if you look at other things that are around 55, you got Kyogre underneath Golisopod. Welcome in everyone, whether you're tuned to a live stream or the YouTube video. Today I'm going to be talking about Master League, and I have a Master League tier list. I was going to make this earlier, but then I realized, you know what, might as well just hold off until Master League actually comes out. That way I can play it a bit and also see what's going on. I know that I just started stream and maybe not a lot of people are watching right now, but I got only a little under an hour to do this because the Shelter Spotlight hour is about to happen for me. So I'm just trying to knock these out as soon as possible. And then for those that aren't watching this live, they can tune into the YouTube video. Okay, let's start this tier list. This is Open Master League, not Master League Premier, as a heads up. So just keep that in mind. But obviously, a lot of the things are going to be outclassed just on a stat product, combat power level. But these are, for the most part, meta-relevant stuff. Meta-relevant is a loose term I'm using just because based on the rankings. I've included everything pretty much in the top 69 of Master League. So just keep that in mind. And then I also added a few things I see here or there that's outside of the top 69, top 70. Let's talk about the things that are directly affected by the update first. So Icicle Spear, Mamoswine. It's still not great. I put it here, maybe at best, but you could argue that it's even worse. You could even say it's probably in the bad category. It's just not as strong as it used to be in Master League. It's just getting outclassed by a lot of things. Influx of steel types as well with Dustmane doesn't make that any easier. Yeah, I personally want to run it. There's a chance that you can even move this to the bad category, but I'm being probably a little bit on the generous side of things. Florges is actually ranked 7th overall, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it is ranked pretty high. That being said, I don't particularly love it. It does get walled off by Ho-Oh. It doesn't have the same coverage as the other fairy types, but you could beat Xerneas in the head-to-head, which is kind of weird. I haven't seen a single Florges. I'll put at fringe meta. I think this is one that's really been I don't know, maybe not fully accurately ranked, because I don't know, I could be wrong about Florges. But I hope I am because it's more accessible than a lot of the other Master League contenders, especially because it's not legendary. But I don't think it's great. I think it'll be a powerhouse in Premier for sure with the Trailblaze, but I don't actually think it's that good in Master League Open. It's just ranked really high because it beats certain things that are ranked fairly high, so it essentially inflates its rank. Togekiss is just bad these days. It's not like, it's just too slow, you know. I'll put it at fringe meta. I think it has more play than Mamoswine, but there's just so many other better fairies you could use. It's ranked 72 with Psyshock, Aura Sphere, Charm. I think there's just better options. A lot of the dragons also have a lot of coverage into fairies these days and Togekiss, so I don't think it's actually going to be that relevant. Other things that were updated from the meta, particularly Meloetta shot up in the rankings quite a bit. It's 4th overall. I don't think it's that good, but I do think it's quite nice. It has the normal resistance to resist Shadow Claw damage from primarily KYUREM Black. Against the Necrozmas, it's fine, but the problem is the Necrozma all have dark moves to cover it, so it's not actually that favorable for Meloetta to begin with. Where's this thing? Okay, yeah. I think the tough part here is also not a lot of people have access to this, so it's hard to say how meta defining it really is. But I think it may have a place in meta, just very, very low, in my opinion. Again, just because it's ranked 4th overall doesn't necessarily mean everything, right? I don't know if anything else really got... Oh, Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele is 6th overall. Astonish, Psyshock, and Nature's Madness. Also a pretty interesting addition to Master League. I also am a little bit skeptical about this one, but Psyshock is probably a nice bait. Gives us some okay coverage. It still loses to Ho-Oh, right? It's not like it really does that much. Personally speaking, I feel like at the end of the day, if you could just run a Zacian instead, why not just run that? It has better coverage, right? And I don't know, it just feels a little bit more reliable. I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's very good. In my mind, it's still not a top fairy. For example, Necrozma, Dustmane, it's taking super effective from the Astonish, but it's resisting the Psyshock and Nature's Madness. So like, what are you really doing there, right? So I'm going to put this fringe meta for now. I might be swayed into moving this in meta one day, but right now I actually don't think it's that great. Alright, this is bad. It just doesn't have the same stat product. It's okay. It's not like you can't win anything, but just not really great. It's not like a bunch of Groudon you can even lock this into, right? And you definitely don't really want to run Waterfall in Master League, so it's even pretty bad into Steel types. Zapdos is also bad. It's ranked high, but that doesn't really mean much. There's just way too many Dragon types that resist stuff like this. Let's put that Zapdos there for now, but I could be swayed to even move that into hot garbage territory. Raiko's actually hot garbage. Unfortunate because I do like cats, but it's definitely hot garbage. Dragonite is definitely on the fringe meta end of things. It could definitely beat dragons, but it's not easy to use. Gudra's even worse, honestly. Gudra I would just put as bad. It might have some play here or there, but it's just like, why? Like, there's so many dragons. You're better off just running that. You know what? I'll put Zapdos as bad too. Hot garbage. I don't think it could be that good. Golbalion's hot garbage as well. It's ranked in the top 70 area, but I don't even know why. Let's talk about the big powerhouses actually that have been recently added. Black KYUREM is definitely nutty with it, but I actually think that White KYUREM is a lot more underrated, myself included. I thought it wouldn't be that good, but I think White KYUREM is actually kind of nasty. Regular KYUREM is fringe meta at best. Put it above the Dragonite, I guess, but at that point, like, there's just really no reason to run this when you could run these two. Lugia has been kind of bad for a while, honestly. It has, yeah, I'll put it there. It could have been better, but then the Sky Attack nerf really hurt it, and it has a lot of bulk, so it can still power through some of the dragons, but it's just way too hard to use in this current meta, and I just don't really see a strong place for it. Ho, I think it's really solid though. It's still one of the few things that checks a lot of things that other Pokemon don't check. Something I noticed as well is a lot of people have been running Close Combat Play Rough Zacian or double Iron Bash Superpower Melmetal, and this is something that really shut it down. Rapier is really strong too in this meta. Definitely has a place in it. Dialga Origin 100% as well. Honestly, Dialga Origin I'll put it between these two. Black KYUREM is kind of nuts, but I think it's slightly better than White KYUREM. But White KYUREM has its coverage too, right? So I wouldn't say that. I'll put regular Dialga here. It's not bad, it's just not as good. Palkia is very, very strong right now too. I'll put it right between these two. But you can make the argument that Palkia could shift anywhere else in this meta tier list. Regular Palkia doesn't really have the typing and stuff either. I'll put it here. It's just, again, the majority of the time you just want to run Palkia Origin. Xerneas is pretty strong still. There's a lot, I mean, the ice types are going to take super effective from fighting as well, so the close combat damage could be pretty strong overall, so I think that's a solid place. Metagross is just not as good as it used to be with all the different Necrozmas essentially, which makes it a lot hard to run, and they're just better checks for fairies now, so you don't really want to run this too much. I'd probably put it around here. It definitely has more utility than Lugia does in this current meta, but there's just better steel types to run. This is bad. We'll just put that here. Magnezone's just not. Well, I'll put it here, I guess. It's just too hard to run that. Electric types in general are really, really hard to run in Master League because of all the dragons that are resisting everything. Heatran I did see a bit of today, and not amazing, but it might have some utility. It's doing neutral at least to some of the stuff. It's definitely on the fringe side of things. I'll put it between the Metagross. You could even argue that it's worse than Metagross, and I would be fine with that. Reshiram is pretty fringe as well. Ugh, these, and Zekrom too. I'll put these over here. I think they have their space utility, but they're just not as good as the other dragons, so there's no reason to really run it. Keldeo I saw one of too, which is pretty fringe as well. It's honestly not even like that bad, I feel like, because it has Sacred Sword coverage, but it's just not good. And the access to this is very low, so this is not something you really even need to worry about. Dragapult, ooh, definitely on the more very fringe side of things. I'll put it here. They're just better options. If you're gonna run Dragon Ghost, just run Giratina. Might as well place Giratina as well too. Giratina also kind of fringe meta at the moment. I'll put it before the Reshiram. Reshiram doesn't seem nearly as strong without the electric coverage. And then Giratina Origin is Gear Origin. I'll put around here. I don't think it's as good actually as Dialga. Melmetal actually is not bad right now. It's got a lot of good coverage and the resistance are nice. And it has a little bit of play into Rhyperior. Not great, but not terrible. I actually think this has a lot of utility. We'll put that here for now. Also a little bit more on the affordable end, which is nice because we all know Master League is not affordable at all by any means. Also, Luna, ground types in general, just pretty tough to run. I don't think it's impossible to run, but it's not good. We'll put it in fringe meta for now. I think some people can make it work, but there's better options. Hisuian Avalugg is surprisingly ranked lower than the other Avalugg. I think there's some utility in it for both of these two. Plus, Palkia being so strong too doesn't help their cause either. Zacian, super strong still. I'll put this here. It just has a lot of play, and the coverage is pretty nuts with it. So it's always going to be pretty high up in my opinion. It's just a fairy type that actually could counter a lot of its counters, right? Whereas the other fairy types tend to struggle there. Even Xerneas. Zamazenta, definitely on the fringe side of things. I wouldn't be super surprised though if it could do something into like the dragons, especially the black and white KYUREM. Dialga also is weak to fighting too. Sorry, there's like a cat here somewhere here. I think Zamazenta might actually be okay to use from time to time. I personally wouldn't, but it's not terrible. Landorus is also really strong right now. I don't think it's as strong as Rhyperior, but it is actually still fairly strong. It's 13th overall. It's just pacing isn't as fast as it used to be with the Mudshot nerf. I'll put it at top of the meta. Zygarde is busted. This thing is still very strong, and honestly, I'm still jealous of people that have it. Let's put this here. Zygarde is it's just stupid bulky and it has great coverage. It doesn't have as good typing as like a Dialga, but that's probably for the best because honestly that would make things even worse. Newer fairies that came around. Enamorus. Enamorus is one. It was kind of a pain, but the coverage it has isn't as great. Oh, Dazzling buff did actually impact that one though, so that is something to note. However, it's only worth 43 overall. Fly, Dazzling, Fairy Wind, it's okay. It has coverage into a lot of its weaknesses. I think this one's kind of underrated because I face them and they're pretty annoying to deal with. You can make the argument that's worse than Dialga. Mewtwo's not what it used to be anymore. Just way too many Shadow Claw users and stuff. It's still very strong and safe. Overall, Mewtwo is at what? 29. Wow, kind of dropped a bit. I do think it's still meta though. Let me see. What's the Meloetta's moveset? Quick attack? I mean, it has better coverage into dark types, but Mewtwo just kind of scary, oppressive still. And its pacing still pretty fast. Kyogre is still very strong, in my opinion, too. It's obviously not as strong as it used to be, but with Rhyperior running around, Ho still running around, it's still very nice to have. And I used it a little bit, and I felt pretty good about it. Groudon, not easy to use at all. There's just so many other things that just beat it. I'll put it here. I think it's probably worse than Lugia, honestly, but even with Precipice Blades, it's just not what it used to be. Nihilego used to be okay, but it's just not as good as it used to be now. Still got great coverage for the fairies. I'll put that there. Solgaleo is kind of making a resurgence, I think, because of the Ice Fang users like White KYUREM. It's not bad into Black KYUREM. It's not good. It's not bad. But they're both weak to Steel, right? So you're running an Iron Head, and you just wall off the fairies. It's quite nice. I'll put it in meta. I wouldn't say it's top meta, but it's very strong. Groudon, just not what it used to be either. Maybe here. There's just way too many dragons that make it hard to run. Oh, honestly, it might be even here. Yeah, it just doesn't have the same utility as it used to. Let's take a look at both Necrosis forms. Dongwings, still pretty strong. The Shadow Claw users, particularly Black KYUREM, does make it a little bit hard to run because Black KYUREM is pretty common and the pacing's pretty nuts on it. And you can only hit it with neutral stuff. So Dialga Altered is still really strong, which is why I don't think it's actually deserves to be bumped on too much. I don't know. We'll put this here for now because you still have to debuff yourself with Draco Meteor, so not the easiest to use. Dustmane feels a lot stronger because it does resist a lot of the typings and stuff. and it's still able to beat Dialga pretty well. I think Dustmane is much stronger. I'll probably put it in the bottom of S tier. I think you can make the argument that it could be even better. Actually, I think it's better than Xerneas. Some of these other remaining stuff are just like lower tiered stuff on the rankings that I just included so people at least know where they're at and why you shouldn't use them. Yveltal is still very strong. Not as strong as it was in the last GBL season, but still very, very strong. I'll probably put it here. I mean, resisting the Shadow Claw is nice, but you still take a lot of damage from the Fusion Bolt. And of course, against a White KYUREM, that's not a fun time. Tapu Bulu is also a little bit hard to run with all the ice coverage that the new dragons have. It does beat Rhyperior though, and it does core break a lot of teams. So I do think it has a place in this meta, just maybe not as much as it used to. Maybe there? I think it's a little bit better than Yveltal. It's hard to say. I mean, they cover different things. Zarude, really hard to run right now. It's always been not the easiest to run, but I think it's better than some of these other things. I think you could argue that you could swap the Giratina Altered with the Zarude. Alright, Golden Gold, just some of these stuff that are ranked still in the top 70-ish, 69-ish, but not actually super relevant. People guys sit down at Dawn at 16 and Dustmane at 18 for Masters. Yeah, but I think the P-Poke rankings aren't fully accurate. Like I said before, like Meloetta's 4. Tapu Lele's 6. I think they're good, but I don't think the rankings tell everything. Golden Gold is also surprisingly very frail. Like, it doesn't tank as much as you would think, even though you're taking a bunch of resistant damage, right? Old stuff that used to be meta that's not meta anymore. Snorlax, just bad, I think. As superpower, I guess, so maybe a little bit better than these things, but it's still not good anymore. As it's solid typing, but these are things that used to be meta in the Master League, and times have changed. Speaking of things that used to be good, yeah, this used to be good, and this is pretty bad now too. It has some utility here or there, but I don't like it much at all. It doesn't pace nearly as fast as it used to either. I'll put it actually behind Golden Gold for now. I saw one earlier today, and man, it got one Rock Slide off against my Ho-Oh, and it couldn't get a second move off because of the pacing. Primarina is ranked much lower. It's past the top 70 mark, but I still added it because I think this one actually still has much higher utility than the others. Obviously, Black KYUREM with Fusion Bolts, it's going to hit this for super effective and do a decent amount of damage. It's not bad. It's a solid waterfall user too that's resist dragon typing. So I think that this still has some type of place in this meta. The reason why Tapu Bulu is a little bit better in my opinion, besides the head-to-head matchup, but that's not always relevant. You have to go for a Free Shock or bait against Tapu Bulu with KYUREM Black. With this, you just go straight Fusion Bolt and just take it out. I think that matchup alone, because you can see a lot of Black KYUREM. However, Tapu Bulu does struggle against KYUREM White KYUREM, so I guess they're interchangeable in some ways. All right, other things are really weird. I do not know how this is even on here, but Golisopod is ranked 55. I don't know how that's ranked 55, because if you look at other things that are around 55, you got Kyogre underneath Golisopod. That's nuts. You have Metagross, Melmetal, like worse than Golisopod. Melmetal's ranked 67, but I actually think it's a very strong pick right now. Golisopod is just bad. I don't really know what this is. It's like, it's just beating like very some things here or there. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. It beats Rhyperior. One guy makes sense. It beats Zacian. That Zacian must not be running Wild Charge. Because how's that doing that? Beats Primarina. I assume that's Waterfall Primarina. Beats Xerneas? How? Okay, Golisopod. This is against... Oh, yeah, they're not running Wild Charge. If they run Wild Charge, that's a different story. I'll put it better than a Snorlax, but it's not great. Powdon was also on there, too. It's pretty bad. I'll give it more respect. I think it's better than some of these other things, but... Hydreigon. It's not bad because it has dragon coverage, and it resists dark damage, but it's just so frail. It's way too frail. Okay, I'll put it here. The bulk on Ursaluna makes it a little bit better, but... Buzzwole is something that one of my patrons have used before in the past, and I don't think it's too bad. It's ranked not very high, though. It's ranked 134. It beats Rhyperior, though. It beats Kyogre. It could beat Melmetal, Dialga. Like, it has good coverage, but it's like feast or famine. It doesn't really feast much, but it's like can eat okay or just complete famine because it just has no coverage to Ho-Oh. Xerneas walls at all. Like, a lot of things kind of walled off. Maybe here. It's okay into some of these things, but it's also just really bad into other things. Actually, I think Dragonite's better than this, so we'll put that there. Tapu Fini is something that we've seen a little bit of here or there in the past. It's not really good though. Mew, this could be like a Swiss Army knife situation. It's not bad, it's just not good. Maybe put it here. I don't know. Mew is kind of like a mixed bag. It's just like too unpredictable to actually bring. Your best aspect to it is you can surprise some players with it, but that's about it. And Anilip is probably better than Buzzwole, so in some ways you can run that instead if you're really feeling like using a counter user. But I probably put it ahead of, I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably put it ahead of Keldeo at least. Keldeo might not be worth putting this high actually. I'll put Keldeo behind the Nihilego. Alright, Marshadow is got the same typing as Annihilape, but Annihilape is 3695. Marshadow is 4217. It does have Sucker Punch. It does have counter as well. Close Combat, Ice Punch. That's not bad. Let me see how Marshadow compares in the rankings. Marshadow's 23? What? I think a lot of people just don't have it. I don't think it's that good, but I'm very curious how Marshadow would do. Because both of his fast attacks are resistant from fairies, so it doesn't have as much safety as Zamazenta. But again, I've never seen a Marshadow in action in Master League, so I have no idea what that even looks like. Alright, Galarian Moltres is same typing as Yveltal. Baxcalibur, it's just a weaker ice dragon, right? Like, oh, this was actually the one where I cut off everything. Number 69 himself. Ice Fang, Avalanche, Dragon Claw. It's not bad. Just not good. It also doesn't have the coverage of White KYUREM with the fire coverage. It does have Ice Fang though. I mean, I can see it being better than some of the other dragons for its uniqueness, but I don't think it's amazing. Elusive Dialga, Origin. You could beat Talbulu, Giratina, Yveltal, Zygarde. Rhyperior you barely beat, but you two beat that as well. It's hard to say. It's probably better than this. I'll keep it this here. Nihilego is really hard to run with all Rhyperior running around, right? So at least this has something better into the meta. Latios is a pretty funky one. I would not recommend. It's just like way too weak, and the Psychic typing is not helping it by any means. I'll put it here. It's probably better than Dragonite. Honestly, is probably better than these. To close things off, we have Galarian Moltres. And Galarian Moltres, I think I was saying this earlier. So, Moltres versus Yveltal. So, Yveltal's 25. Galarian Moltres is 57. They both have Sucker Punch. One has Payback. One has Ancient Power. The other one has Dark Pulse, Oblivion Wing. Obviously, you could run this with Brave Bird as well. It's not as good as Yveltal, in my opinion. So, I get why. Payback's also way more expensive, right? For the Dark coverage. But you kind of need Dark coverage into the ghost types and just like the steel types. You don't want to throw Brave Bird or Ancient Power into that. What does it even power up to, I guess is the real question. Moltres, Galarian, 3580, whereas Yveltal powers up to 4275. That's a big stat product difference. It's a very big stat product difference. If you're running this, why not just run the Yveltal at that point, right? I'll put it here. It has good coverage. It's just not as good as these other things. Terrakion does have play too. I don't have Terrakion on my list, but it does. Because a lot of things are weak to fighting. Like these are definitely very good points. Oh, I missed Terrakion. It's 66. I should have had it on my list. I put Terrakion definitely in some fringe meta category. It's a weird one, but it beats a lot of things, right? It could beat this. It has neutral play into these. Not great into the Palkia. It has neutral play. I mean, it's still going to lose. Actually, no. This Boulder's going to do a lot of damage to it. Actually, that's not good. It could be this, has play into this, beats this. Not great into these. I mean, it has play into this, right? It's not bad. Terrakion's definitely a sleeper pick. I personally have a Hundo, but I don't have the XLs, and I don't know if I really want to run it. Might be time for a segment for Did I Cook or Get Cooked series, because Terrakion could be kind of interesting. Anyway, this is going to be my tier list. I feel pretty good about it. Let me know what you think. And yeah, best of luck in Master League. I think the meta is actually in a pretty healthy place right now. I'm having a lot of fun with it. but maybe it's because I have the white and black KYUREM. But I think those two are pretty insane at the moment, so definitely worth making. All right, I still have 10 minutes to spare, so I'm gonna get ready and go catch some shelter and get a bunch of Stardust. Hopefully you all got some as well, and if you're on the West Coast or further across, then get ready to get some dust. Until then, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.